Hi everyone, and welcome to another sales e-learning video class. This is Tony Brancatello, and today we're going to change a little bit of subject and go into something a bit more different than we did in the past. And we're going to look at a certain aspect of how in sales it's important to approach customers in a certain way. And we're talking about formality. So formality in sales, the importance of formality in sales, and you're going to hear me say this over and over again. Of course, it certainly has to do a lot with attitude and how we are authentic and how we do what we discussed in our last video. But certainly when it comes to sales, what we say, how we say it, and the amount of words that we use, the actual words that we use, really come into importance, and importance in many ways. What we're looking for is consistent behavior. And consistent behavior includes the words that we use. And how we use the words and what we say, it needs repetition, needs to become a habit, and it is all about a method. So this method really is, it's embedded in us. It has to be worked into us. We need to practice it over and over again to always say the right things. It's really just to change the narrative and how we say things. To change the narrative. You might say right about now, what the heck is he talking about? Well, it's exactly what I'm talking about. To use words like I just say right now, or even instead of saying things that are more important and more formal. In this case, excuse me. Sorry, I didn't quite catch what you said. Sorry, pardon, sorry, what was that? Say again. I can't make heads or tails of it. I'm lost. What did you say? What? All these come into play, as I just said again. It's informal language. It takes a lot of practice not to say these things, not to say these words. Lots of practice. We can even say sure, as we say of course. All these little words and phrases that come along, and we're so used to hearing them, are informal. What we can say is, could you repeat that, please? Could you say that again more slowly, please? Would it be possible to repeat what you just said? Again, this is not just the words themselves. The formality is also in how we say it and the tone that we use. Because I can easily change this to, could you repeat that, please? Could you say that again more slowly, please? Would it be possible to repeat what you just said? Now, that is certainly informal. So the tone and where we emphasize, what word we emphasize and how we use it plays a big part. Could you repeat that, please? Could you say that again more slowly, please? Would it be possible to repeat what you just said? Again, very clear, very slowly, and in a very rhythmic way and consistent way you have to talk. And this is where you differentiate a trained sales associate and one that is not trained. So let's take a look at also other stuff that we could use or not use when it comes to formality. Contractions. I'm instead of I. Should say I am instead of I'm. Because when you say I'm, I think when we did the exercise of how you pronounce your name and really look at the syllables in your name, it's the same thing. I am, 2 syllables. I'm, 1 syllable. We don't understand it. Can't versus cannot. We've versus we have. And so on the list. If you go all the way to the end of the list, you'll see isn't. Isn't is a very tough word to say to begin with. Is not is much easier and well understood. She'll, there's one that really is hard to say to begin with. Instead of saying she will. He's, he is. On and on it goes. So contractions are not formal. Take them out of your system, take them out of your language, and say what you have to say without contractions. Slang words, right? Slang words, kids, bad, good. Here, let's take a look at what would you say, a little exercise. I'll give you a little pause. What would you say instead of kids? Children. How about bad? Bad is a slang word. What would you say besides bad instead of bad? Negative. Good. Positive. Really big. considerable, right, correct, wrong, incorrect, smart, intelligent, cheap, inexpensive, loaded, this product is loaded, this product is rich. So again, slang words are out in formality and in retail sales. When you are trained, you're trained to not use these words on the left. And I'll go on, I'll give you some more phrases and also some more words. Here are some more. Say sorry. Well, we discussed this to ad nauseum, as we can say, and I'm not going to give up on this. You need to get that sorry out of your language. Apologize, out of your narrative, I should say. Apologize. Go up. Go down. Set up. Look at. Blow up. Find out and bring about. These are all informal. So on the right you can see what to say instead. Certainly do pause the video to take a look at it a little bit more in depth, and I will post the actual presentation as I usually do. Informal, again we go, think about, consider, get, obtain, put up, tolerate, deal with, handle, seem, appear, show, demonstrate, start, commence, keep, retain, free, release. And we'll keep going. I have a few of these I want to show you. Informal and formal transitions. Transitions means when you want to change the topic or topic of conversation, or you want to get away from the objection or the negotiations. These are words not to say. Anyways, nevertheless. A tough word to say, but when you say it, nevertheless, people understand, especially customers will understand that. But, however, so, there's that so. So is really a tough one to get rid of because it's easy. It's one syllable. So, and we say it over and over and over again. If you're really not sure what to say and so comes out of your mouth, and think about it. I just said so. Next time I will say nothing or therefore. Okay, very informal. Acceptable. I think, in my opinion, to sum up, in conclusion, instead of saying basically, that's one of my bad boys is always saying basically, to summarize. There, I just said bad boys, which is also very informal. All right, acceptable, again, and very, definitely. Definitely is a good word versus very. Now, if you have issues with any of these words and what to say, sometimes we'll come out and we'll say sure. The one word that you have to remember over and over again to say when you're not sure what to say, how to answer a customer's questions, or to start conversation, the word is yes. Simply, not yeah, not sure, not anything else, but yes. Very clearly, yes. It's understood. And we're talking about very, instead of saying very accurate, and all these varies that you've got in front of you, and I won't read them out. You can look at them one by one. So we'll start very accurate. Great. So, what is the real difference between the two when we talk about formal versus informal language? Let's take a look at this. When we talk about the characteristics of formal language, we're talking about serious language, objective language, not subjective language. Subjective is always your opinion or your thoughts about things. Objective is more about what the store thinks and what the product could do. Characteristics also very specific vocabulary. What I mean by this, when you are actually having conversation with customers, you need to repeat the same words over and over again that you use all the time. This way you get used to them, and they will always come out and saying the right thing at the right time. If you go out on tangents, as we say, and start going out and feeling that you need to be a little bit less formal, what happens is, by using, let's say, contractions, what happens is you get lost in your speech and it doesn't come out positively. And your attitude changes also with how you say when you go from being formal to informal, and vice versa. So what you need to always stay in character, as we say as an actor, is you always got to stay who you are, and you have to always have a serious tone, objective tone. Don't use contractions. You can also use more complex sentences, or you use sentences that have more meaning. It is a controlled speech, and it becomes very impersonal. Impersonal means that you are always very neutral in how you say things. Your emotions do not come into play. When it's controlled and impersonal, it's very neutral and very controlled when it comes to your emotions. And again, that famous word, stress. So formal language reduces stress at all levels. Informal language, all of a sudden, emotions come into play, and you don't know what to say, or you will go back on certain things that you've said, sure, why not, basically, and all these things come out, and it becomes very informal and very stressful to switch back afterwards to become formal again. So you do not leave the premises of formality. You stay inside all the time. And this is the opposite, right? Informal, funny, casual, simple, friendly, not friendly, but friends. Here in this case, plain spoken, exclamation points if you're actually writing things, right? Slangs, as we talked about. So that all comes into play. Again, I'll give you some more. Take a look at this. I like that last one. Hey! Now here's some more comparisons between formal and informal language. With your permission, I'd like to ask you some questions. May I ask you a question? This is formal. Informal? How would you say that? Informal, I have a question for you. Would be very informal. Again, language, when it comes to informality and formal, is always to be very careful if you use the imperative tone. Imperative tone means that you're using words that command. I have a question. I have a question for you. Come here. Do this. Sit down. It's all imperative language, and it's all informal. Here's another one. How would you say that informally? Here's another one. I really appreciate you letting me know. Informally, contractions, and exclamation points. Another one. Would there be anything else that would interest you today? Very formal and informal. Hey, how about a shirt to go with that suit? Something not to say. And very simply, versus. Okay. Again, word usage. A formal tone uses more complex, precise adjectives, nouns, and verbs. If you have more examples here, good versus superior versus good. utilize versus use, some reasons versus some things. The other reason why you would use more complex words and adjectives and not use adverbs is the fact that it also breeds a little bit more intelligence on your part, and also know-how. If you use all the words at the same time over and over again, this product is good, right? This product is the best. This product is best price. Yeah, try it on. This product will do you well. Yeah, sure, it suits you fine. All this type of language tells the customer that your speech, your words, your vocabulary, how you speak and how you talk is very limited. I talked to you about, not to say comfortable, determine. These are the main reasons why, because these are little signs that customers catch when you're talking to them. No matter what their background is, when you say something like determine, yeah, this is good, or sure, when they hear all these things, yeah, okay, they know right away that you have a very limited vocabulary. So it does take practice, or like what I just said now. So, right, I get caught too. Whenever you use these words, certainly, again, it brings into play the fact that the customer realizes that he might have an upper hand on you when it comes to language. Let's take a look. Nice blank page, things not to say, and very difficult to get out of your vocabulary. This one's a tough one. Students of all levels will say this because they don't know what to say, how to say it. There's a nervous tick, it becomes a habit. It's very difficult to get out of your system. One of the best ways to get rid of the likes, like this, like that, is to film yourself. Watch yourself in video saying like 50 times in a matter of 60 seconds. Tells you that there is an issue there that you need to really work on getting rid of this. Thanks a lot. Again, contraction. How's your day going? Right? Very informal. In French, hey, ça va? Or ça va bien? Right? Don't ever say that in a store, especially when it comes to if you're living off island. They don't want to hear this. So, one of my big bad boys, again, that I would say is so. How are you? We talked about this. Not to say how are you. It is something that you don't want to go to. This is very informal language. Etc. is something that often is said. Instead of talking and explaining things, people will just say simply, well, you know how it is, etc. And this really cuts into formality. And now the big one. When you say honestly, in most cases, this is an adverb. In most cases, what you're trying to say here is that you don't know what to say, or if you think that in your mind, by saying this, you will get the customer closer to you by making him understand that, hey, now I'm going to tell you something, that is true. Again, what the actual thought process is, in my case, in many cases, is that what you said just prior to this, that means was not true. So this is the difficulty about language when it comes to saying certain things and what the actual meaning of these words are. So honestly means, now I'm going to be truthful. I wasn't truthful, but now I will. This is what people understand. All right, so you have to be careful with this. There it is. We say like very often. These are words so comes into play all the time. So the only way you really get the so out of your system, which I need to work on myself, is to really prepare yourself over and over again. Watch yourself on videotape. Actually, even just record your voice in a speech and how you say things and how you would say things. This is really important to take a look at. And we'll finish off the way we started by saying to everybody and trying to get that out of your system. So that's a very short and sweet little video. Talk about formality. I wish you all a fantastic afternoon and hope to see you soon on our next video.